Hey everybody, Ben here with another Clover video of the month. I've got JJ here, our newest teammate. He's going to be partnering with us to bring more value to a lot of these Clover monthly videos. On today's episode, we're going to be covering how to upload a menu. If you're a new business, this is a very important part to the onboarding process for your account and ensure that it gets done correctly. Additionally, if you're uploading a new menu or revamping and updating an existing menu, this will really help build value and help streamline the process for that as well.
During your initial onboarding process, we ask that you send us a PDF copy of your menu so that we can upload it to the Clover dashboard for you. That way, when you get your equipment, the menu is already uploaded and you are ready to start processing.
Clover actually uses an Excel template for the uploads of a menu. That being said, in our next part, we're going to show you how to fill that out step by step to ensure it gets uploaded correctly. Hey everybody. Today, what we're going to be doing is covering how to build a menu from scratch using the Clover template that's provided through the Clover dashboard. And so I already have the template downloaded here. I've got a mock menu on the right-hand side. And keep in mind, when you download this template from the dashboard, there's going to be some example inputs just to show you how things work. I've gone through, deleted all of that, so it's kind of a fresh, blank template. That being said, we'll hop right into it. The first thing that we're going to want to do is to input the category names and the items. So I'm going to start with shareables, and then I'm going to put the items that belong to this category below it. And then we're going to wash, rinse, and repeat. And so I'm going to continue to go through these different categories here. I'm going to input the names and then the items again right below it. Alrighty, and so now that we have all of these items, I do want to point out a couple of things. I left off add-ons, and then I actually meant to leave off extra toppings as well. And so I'll show you why that'll come into play when we start building some modifiers. And so overall, this is kind of what you should start with or have to kind of begin. And so again, category names up top for that first row, and then in each column are the items that belong. And so from here, we're going to start with shareables. I'm going to copy these first three items, go back to the items page, paste them right here in the name column, and then we're going to work left to right. So alternative name, we can skip since this one doesn't have one. But for the price, we can pull it from the menu. It's $15. For price type, I'm going to put in fixed since it's a fixed 15. If we were doing a per unit pricing, that's what we would use this column for. Tax rates, I'm going to use default, and that can be set up through this tab here. And so you can change these tax rates, different names for those tax rates, and then you can choose a default. I'm just going to leave it alone for this example. Cost would be if we knew the cost of the nachos, we could input that. That way, when the merchant runs some reports for sales, they'll be able to actually see what they made profit-wise minus the cost. We don't have that, so we'll skip it. Product code and SKU, it's not a retail place. They're not going to be scanning the nachos in right when they're selling them. We can skip that as well. Modifier group we will use. This is basically where we can create add-ons or additions or changes to a menu item. Quantity would be how many we have on hand. Printer labels would be used to route order and kitchen printers, right? So if we wanted these food items to go to a kitchen printer, and if they had drinks that need to go to a bar printer, we could use the labels to route those. Hidden would hide the menu item on the POS. If it's a seasonal item or something, you might utilize that. And then non-revenue, obviously, is something that doesn't generate revenue. And so we don't really need any of this back half stuff. We'll go kind of back forward here. And the first one I'm going to work on is nachos, and we're going to create some modifiers. To do so, I'm going to go to this modifier group tab. I'm going to go ahead and create the modifier group name. I typically like to start with removals. So nachos removal. I'll put yes for pop-up automatically. This will then pop up when the nachos are selected. That way the server, whoever is working, will be prompted and have those options displayed on the device. The modifier column will be for each individual option. So we're going to start with remove cheddar, and then we're just going to go down the line here. So remove fresh green onions, and I'm going to do the whole thing for the nacho items again, just using this description here. Now that I have this done, we do have some other options. We're not going to utilize them now, but if these selections here did have an addition in price, we could, build that in. If it was something that was required or there's a maximum that they can choose from, that's what these fields would be used for. And so from here, I'm going to copy the name. I'm going to go back to the item. I'm going to find its row, and I'm going to paste it here. And so we'll go ahead, we'll move on to mozzarella sticks. And if I look here, there's not really any options, right? Any add-ons, any adjustments. So we're just going to go ahead and go straight across. And so same idea, it's going to be fixed in default once again. And since I don't have a modifier for this one, we'll just skip right over it and we'll go to chicken wings. With chicken wings, again, we'll start with price. Go ahead and duplicate these here. And then for modifiers, I'm actually going to do two. So I'm going to go back to the modifier group. And the first one that I'm going to do is chicken fry type. And I put a 1 there. That way, this will be the first modifying option that appears. It does go by like alphanumerical order. And so once again, we'll put yes, and let's do extra crispy and regular. For my second one, we're going to do wing sauce. And so over here, it says there's 4 different sauces. Typically, the menu would probably have those listed. Since this is a mock example, we'll just make up 4 generic ones. And so now that I have both of these, we're going to copy both of them, go back to the items, find the chicken wings, paste. And with this having 2 modifiers, you'll notice when we start the next item, we are going to skip a row and start here. That way, these 2 will tie back to the chicken wings. And so from here, let's go to categories, let's copy the sandwiches, go back to items, we'll paste, and then looks like they're served with chips or fries. So once again, we could do a removal option and then a side option. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So we'll put in the price points for both items. Copy these over. And since I know that these both are going to have 2 different modifiers, I'm going to go ahead and clear the space at a time. So I've left a blank there. I'm going to make the first modifier for the chicken and bacon sandwich by going back to modifier groups. Starting on this line, I'm going to put in a 1, and let's do sandwich side, right? This one's going to prompt for all of them. So let's allow them to choose that side. We can put yes, and it looks like it's either chips, French fries. There's not any other options there, so we'll leave that alone. And number 2 will be chicken and bacon remove. Yes. And we're going to go ahead and put the removals. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other sandwich, which is the vegetarian one. And then we're going to copy these over. We'll do the first sandwich first. Go to chicken and bacon, paste, and then go back here. And we will paste. So now we've got the first 2 categories all taken care of. We've got removals, we've got add-ons and options. We're going to continue going down the line with pizza. So I'll copy these different pizzas. And I'll go ahead and paste again, leaving a gap there for these modifiers to tie back to the original option. And so with all of these pizza options, they do have some base toppings, and then there's an extra topping segment at the bottom. And so what we can do here is just like before, we can build the removals and the pizza toppings. And for this one, I'm going to start with pizza removals. That way, if there's anything somebody doesn't want on the pizza, they can kind of say that first. And then extra toppings will go on right at the end. And so we'll hop over to modifiers once again, and we will build the removals. So number 1, cheese, chicken removal. And from here, I'm going to do all the removals first. So we'll probably have, once again, a little bit of a pause and skip, and then we should be back with all of those inputted. And then I'll show you how to attach them to the pizza and show you what the extra toppings look like. So hang tight, and we should be right back. Righty, so I've got everything inputted. I've got the removals up top, extra toppings here, and to round these off, right, we've got price. So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to attach the additional topping price. So it'd be $1.50 for each of these toppings. Drag this all the way to the bottom. And once again, not a required field by any means, so we'll leave those blank. And all we have to do is copy these over to the items, just like before. So We'll go ahead and we'll do that now. And then we can also go ahead and input the prices here. And since they all have that secondary modifier, we'll go ahead and we'll just move and space these out. Now that we got that out the way, I'll go back to modifiers. We'll grab that extra topping, and then we can go ahead and just paste them in. And so now we've gotten our shareables, our sandwiches, our pizzas, all taken care of. What we're going to move into now is, once again, just the next category, right? So we've got hot dogs. It doesn't look like there's too much going on with these. So it looks like we can just create these for what they are. So we've got the French hot dog here. That's going to be $4. We've got pesto at $5.50, Mexican at $5.50. And so I'm going to go ahead, drag these over. And if we really wanted to, we could create some removals for these, but it does seem pretty basic. So we're going to leave that alone. And so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to head to the burgers. And with the burgers, we actually are going to have like a forced modifier that I can show you. And so what that'll end up looking like is we can simply copy the burgers over, same start as always. We can even put the price points in as well. And then from here, we'll start building some modifiers. And so I think the first and the easiest one to do for a burger, right, is we can do temp. So that's going to apply to all of them. We'll make this number 1, burger, temp. And so from here, we'll put yes. And we'll simply start filling in the options. So we'll do well done, medium rare, and then rare. This won't have a price point, but we could set a minimum and a maximum. So let's say there's a required quantity here of 1 and a maximum of 1, right? The burger can only be cooked one way, so we can build that there, copy the first modifier, head back to our burgers, find that house burger, go across, paste. We can do this for the first two. Since they both have meat, it looks like that black bean one doesn't, so we can leave that off of it. And then what we can do from here is build the removals, right? So just like before, we'll go ahead and create some space. And then modifiers. Now we'll do number 2, house burger removal. And so just like before, you'll see me kind of doing the same thing here. We'll create one for the house burger, the cheese, and then the black bean as well. And then that will kind of conclude the burgers. The only difference, right, is that burger temp, we did make it a forced modifier by selecting 1. I'm going to go ahead and continue building the burger options here with their removals. And I'll be right back to kind of showcase that and wrap everything up. Awesome. So I'm back now. We're going to go ahead and paste the house burger removal. We're going to do the same with cheese. Oops. And then black bean just has a removal since there's no temp for that black bean patty. And now we've got one category left to work with. And we're going to do the same thing. So pretty easy overall. Just going to paste these here. Go ahead and put price points. And let's say these are pre-made. So, let's pretend these ones actually can't be removed. They're pre-made wraps, maybe that are in the cold case. And in that scenario, we'll just simply wrap it up by doing that. And so overall, to kind of showcase everything here, I'm going to expand the screen. We've got the item names, we've got price points, we've dictated a price type, a tax rate, and then we've added modifiers. The modifiers are created on this modifying group kind of tab, if you will. And keep in mind, right, to always start fresh. So if this is where the category name is, then this is where the items need to begin, just like you see how I have them here. Price points can go in next to them. And then for each group, if you want to make that group a required field or a maximum field, you can do so by inputting the numbers here. And so categories are obviously what we started with. So they have the categorical names above, the items below, and then tax rates can be edited and changed from this page. And so overall, to make sure this is completed and completed well, we just need to have and make sure, whoever's building the menu, whether the agents are involved or if this is a courtesy build for Clover restaurant builds, right? We do have to have a complete menu of some kind. We do need to know the modifiers and the options that they want. If we have all of those moving pieces, we can get pretty close to the exact, idea that they probably have in their head. But if we're missing pieces, that's going to make it very hard. But we do, again, offer a courtesy build on Clover restaurant devices, and we can also always train and help out on the install activation, portion to help merchants with this as well. But overall, whether you're a merchant or an agent watching this video, hopefully this sheds some light on how to do this. Realistically, from here, you would simply save, and then you would be able to go to the dashboard, select import, and then send or submit this actual Excel. If there are any errors, the dashboard will actually tell you what they are. One really common one is duplicate names. So for example, if we had two things here named nachos, Clover is going to tell us there's duplicates. So we've got to make it a little bit more unique. And a lot of those scenarios will just add more or less a detailed identifier. So maybe instead of they do have two nachos, maybe one is the supreme nachos, maybe one is a side nachos. All of those options, right, would allow the upload and get rid of the error. But again, thank you everybody for your time on this video. Take care.
And that's that. Now your menu has been uploaded to your inventory and you are ready to start processing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.